I opened my dream restaurant and invited my entire family to the grand opening. Not one of them showed up. They all went to Ezra's promotion party instead, a backyard barbecue with plastic chairs and lukewarm beer, while I stood in my candlelit dining room waiting. As I closed up alone, wiping down untouched tables and folding napkins no one used, Dad finally texted, "We need to discuss the restaurant. My name is Juliet Martin. I'm 34. And if you think you know how this ends, think again. What do you do when the people you built your dreams for show up only when there's something left to eat?" The kitchen still smelled like garlic and rosemary. The handwritten menus I'd spent hours on sat stacked neatly at the host stand. The playlist I made from songs that reminded me of childhood kept looping on empty speakers. I stared at my phone. No calls. No "we're running late." No flowers, not even from Mom. Just Ezra's Instagram story. A bottle popping, my family in the background, laughing, dancing, holding a cake that said "to bigger things." They didn't just miss it. They ignored it. When Dad texted, I didn't ask what he wanted to discuss. I knew. He was worried about the money he assumed he'd get. The family tab, the unspoken discount he thought came with sharing my last name. I stared at the screen, then typed one sentence that rewrote the rules forever. Effective immediately. The restaurant is closed to all family. No reservations. No discounts. No exceptions. 20 minutes later, my phone lit up. 19 missed calls and a knock at the back door. Ezra. Of course, it was him. He stood there in his tailored blazer, smelling like too much cologne and not enough guilt, holding a box of leftover cake. "Figured you'd want a slice," he said, trying to smile. I didn't answer. Didn't move. "Look, Jules. We didn't think the opening was that big a deal. Dad said it was just soft launch vibes." I stepped outside, shutting the door behind me. "You went to his party, Ezra. Not mine. I hand-delivered invites. I texted Mom 3 times. I made your favorite lemon tart, and it sat untouched for 5 hours." He looked down at the cake. "People got busy." "No," I said, soft but sharp. "People got lazy. They thought I'd always be the backup plan." I walked past him, through the trash bag I'd been carrying to the dumpster. "Jules, come on. It's not that deep." It was always deep. From Dad introducing me as the artsy one to Mom comparing my restaurant dream to Ezra's marketing job. They wanted me to stay small so they wouldn't have to explain me. Ezra followed me back to the door. "I think Dad wants to invest now. He sees potential. He asked me to talk to you." There was not guilt, not support. Business. "Tell Dad the restaurant's fully funded," I said calmly. "The investor bought exclusive rights to my loyalty." Ezra blinked. "What does that mean?" I smiled. "It means you're late, and I don't do leftovers." I walked back inside and locked the door. Outside, I could hear him breathing, then walking away. The next day, I changed the locks, not just at the restaurant but at my apartment too. I'd spent years letting my family treat my space like a revolving door. "Jules, can we crash here? Can I borrow your car?" Every time I said yes, thinking usefulness was the same as love. But love doesn't flake on your life's biggest moment. Love shows up. I made it official. A sign on the restaurant door read, "Dear customers, due to overwhelming support, we are transitioning to reservations only. No walk-ins accepted, even if we share DNA." By noon, it was on local foodie blogs. By evening, it went viral. Comments flooded in. "This woman is my hero. Boundaries taste better than betrayal. Tell Ezra to eat a slice of humble pie." Meanwhile, my phone buzzed nonstop. Mom called 5 times, left 1 voicemail. "Juliet, this is childish. We're family. We made a mistake. This public tantrum is making things worse." I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the front door to a couple holding hands, tourists from Georgia. "We saw you online," the woman said. "We canceled our other reservation just to eat here." As I led them to their table, I caught my reflection in the window. I didn't look bitter. I didn't look angry. I looked free. Behind me, the restaurant buzzed with laughter, clinking forks, and second chances I chose, not ones I was forced to give. 2 days later, Dad showed up. Not at the restaurant. Not risking cameras or another headline. He came to my apartment. I opened the door. Let's be adults about this, he said. I watched him through the peephole, suit jacket slightly wrinkled, eyes tired. He looked like a man losing control of a story he'd written. I'll be brief, he added. Your mother's upset. Ezra's confused. We all are. I opened the door, but didn't step aside. You want to talk? Talk right here.
He sighed.
This is ridiculous. We're not enemies. No, I said. You're just people who forget I exist unless I'm footing the bill or cooking the meal. He flinched. I was going to help you, he said quietly. I was looking into some financing. You mean you wanted equity? I replied. Control, he muttered. I pulled out the manila envelope waiting on the console behind me. Here's the deed. The restaurant is solely in my name. The LLC, the patents, the recipes, all mine. He blinked. You got a lawyer? I got a team, I said. Funny what happens when you stop waiting for permission to shine. Dad looked down, muttering, We just wanted you to succeed. No, I said. You wanted me to stay small, manageable.
He didn't respond.
Before he left, he warned, This will come back to bite you, Jules. You're burning bridges. I nodded calmly. Then I guess I'll learn to swim. I shut the door, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I needed their name to succeed. Mine, Juliet Martin, was finally worth something. By that night, I had 12 new reservation requests and one message from Ezra. They're planning something. Be careful. I didn't flinch. Let them plan.
So was I.
The first sign was a bad Yelp review. Then 2. Then 6. All within an hour. Each eerily similar. Food was cold. Staff was rude. Owners stared at us like we didn't belong. Problem was, none of those names were in the reservation log. And the food was never cold. I knew what this was. Ezra's message echoed in my head. They're planning something. A smear campaign. 1-star warfare. Digital vandalism with no fingerprints, just poison. I didn't panic. I prepared. I called my lawyer. Then I reached out to a regular, a journalist who had once written a piece titled The Restaurant with a Soul. Someone's targeting you, she said after reading the reviews. Want to go on record?
Yes.
Let's tell the truth. By morning, the article was live. Beneath the apron strings, how a rising star chef fought back against family sabotage. It wasn't revenge, it was truth. Screenshots, dates, contradictions, even a staff quote. Her dad came in last week and threatened to buy out her lease if she didn't come to her senses. By noon, the story had legs. Comments poured in. Imagine being this threatened by your daughter's success. Families like this create warriors.
She's not the black sheep.
She's the phoenix. That night, a woman walked in and whispered, They tried to break you, but I came to tip $1,000 just for standing up. I cried in the walk-in fridge, not from weakness, but relief. For once, I wasn't alone. The world had seen what they did and chose me. Then Natalie, Ezra's fiancée, showed up during closing hours. No reservation, just a fragile smile and a trembling phone. Can I talk to you? She asked.
Please.
Just a minute. Something in her eyes, guilt, maybe, made me stay. She sat across from me in the last booth, hands wrapped tight around a coffee cup I hadn't poured. I didn't know, she whispered. I didn't know how far they were going. They created a WhatsApp group, she continued. Your mom, Ezra, Aunt Linda, even Cousin Mark. It was called Project Reset. The plan? Pressure you into selling the restaurant or make you fail. I didn't flinch. I already knew. They said they were just trying to bring you back to reality, Natalie said, voice cracking. But after the article went viral, they turned on each other. Mom blamed Ezra. Ezra blamed Dad. It was chaos. I leaned back, watching her. Why are you telling me this? I asked. She looked ashamed. Because they dragged me into it. And because I don't want to marry someone who treats his sister like that. She slid her phone across the table. Screenshots, messages, voice notes, proof. Names, dates, plans. If you want to go public, Natalie said quietly, you have my blessing. I didn't respond, not yet. Revenge wasn't about noise. It was about timing. This wasn't about getting even. It was about getting free. I looked her in the eye.
Thank you, I said.
You just gave me everything I needed, and I meant it. Sometimes the last card you need comes from someone ready to leave the table too. By 9:12 a.m., the headlines hit. Chef Juliette Martin's family caught plotting to sabotage her career. Leaked messages confirm. I hadn't spoken to any press. I didn't need to. Natalie leaked the messages herself, with a single caption, "I won't be marrying into this family." It exploded. Screenshots from the Project Reset chat painted the full picture. She's too full of herself. Pull the plug on her supplier discount. Make her beg to come back. The backlash was instant. Supporters flooded social media with hashtag #StandWithJuliette. Old friends, classmates, past coworkers, they all spoke up. She was always the one carrying everyone. They used her until she had nothing left. This is why she shines. She fought alone. By noon, my reservation list was booked for 6 weeks. At 2 p.m., my landlord called. "Juliette, I'm extending your lease 5 years. Rent locked. You're the pride of this street." At 3:17 p.m., Ezra texted, "I didn't know Mom saved that stuff."
I'm sorry.
I didn't respond. I was busy prepping dinner service, folding napkins, tasting sauce, fixing a crooked picture on the wall. At 5 p.m., a woman walked in, navy blazer and red lipstick. "I'm from the Food Chronicle," she said. "We're doing a feature. 10 chefs who survived the fire. You're our cover."
Cover.
I blinked. She smiled. "You're not just a chef. You're a revolution." That night, after the last dish was plated and the lights dimmed, I stood barefoot in the empty dining room, wine glass in hand. The air was clean. Tomorrow, I'd plan something even bigger. Because the best revenge isn't survival, it's success, seasoned with silence. Exactly 1 year later, an invitation arrived. Gold foil lettering, sealed with a crest I knew too well. "You are cordially invited to Ezra and Marlene's engagement brunch." I laughed. The same family who once locked me out of celebrations was now asking me to join their curated photo op, hoping I'd post something positive to polish their image. I placed the invite in the blender. Then I opened my laptop and finalized a deal I'd been negotiating for months. Juliette's Table, second location. Historic brick building downtown. Exposed beams. Rooftop garden. Kitchen twice the size of the first. I hired my staff from overlooked places, culinary grads with no connections, single moms rebuilding, quiet dreamers who never got a chance. Together, we built something sacred. Not just a restaurant, but a space where dignity was on the menu. On ribbon-cutting day, a crowd had gathered. The journalist who wrote my first article was there, mic in hand. "What would you say to your family now?" she asked. I smiled slow and soft. Nothing. They'd asked for explanations, apologies, second chances. I gave them silence. They never needed answers, they needed accountability. And I had nothing left to prove. Later, in the new kitchen, flour dusting my apron, hands kneading dough, staff buzzing around me, laughter, chopping, the low hum of hope. I felt it. Then she walked in alone, nervous. "I saw your story," she said. "My daughter wants to be a chef. She's afraid she won't be good enough." I handed her a menu. "Tell her this." They said the same to me. And just like that, I closed the chapter they tried to write for me and opened a new one I authored myself.